This local channel is sponsored by Michaud Insurance. Since 1979, Michaud Insurance has been providing comprehensive insurance options to our friends and neighbors. Find out how we work for you at 978-685-2549 or at michaudinsurance.com.
Methuen Community Studios coverage of election 2025. I'm your moderator for this evening, Michelle Houle, and tonight we are bringing you the Councilor at Large Candidates Forum. Joining us this evening in alphabetical order are Ryan DiZoglio, John Drew, Wanda Santos, James Sarcioni, Francisco Cirillo, and Jana Zani-Pesh. Welcome to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Local elections have a real impact on our everyday lives, shaping the quality of life right here in our city. City councilors help set the tax rate and decide how funds are spent on public safety, public works, and education. Tonight's program is designed to give every candidate an equal opportunity to share their views. Each candidate will answer the same set of questions, and most responses will be limited to 1 minute. When time is nearly up, our timer will give a signal to wrap up. That's the lady over in the corner there for you, just so you guys know which one we're talking about. We're here to learn about the candidates and their ideas, so no personal attacks will be permitted. And as moderator, I reserve the right to stop any remarks that cross that line. If time allows, we may follow up on certain topics for additional discussion. So let's begin with our 1 minute opening statements, and we will start with Ryan DiZoglio. 2 minutes? I'm sorry, 2 minutes. Yes, the script I had was wrong. 2 minutes. Thank you, John. Go for it, Ryan.
Hi. I'm Ryan DiZoglio. I am a longtime resident of Methuen. I went through the Methuen public school system and currently is a school committee member for Methuen. And I'm also an educator for Lawrence Public Schools. And the reason why I'm running is I want to continue to give back to my community that has done so much for me and my siblings for 27 years. I believe I could bring new ideas to the city council and bring Methuen to the next step. I feel like right now, currently, Methuen is staying in the present, and I hope that the decisions I make can not just benefit Methuen today, but will benefit Methuen in the next 10 years. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. John Drew.
Good evening. My name is John Drew. I'm running for City Councilor at Large. Methuen deserves leaders that put people before politics. I'm a husband, a father of two in the Methuen public school system, a homeowner, and the son of a parent who taught me that service, hard work, and integrity matter more than any titles. By trade, I'm a master plumber, and currently I serve as the operations manager for a large union mechanical contractor. I deal with multi-million-dollar budgets every day. I negotiate contracts, lead people, and try to get the job done on time, properly, every time. That's the same approach I'll bring to the City Hall. Practical, accountable, and focused on results. 6 months ago, I was unknown. Just a dad showing up to meetings, concerned about what was going on in my city and in my children's schools. When I saw more than nearly 80 teachers possibly losing their jobs, I knew that complaining wasn't going to be enough. So I decided I had to step up to make a difference. What makes me different is simple. I don't have any family that works in Methuen or is on any boards. When I kicked off my campaign, I said that I'm not a politician. I'm a plumber. And I'm a working guy who solves problems for a living. My priorities have been clear since the beginning. Keep Methuen safe by supporting our police, fire, and first responders. Keep it affordable for our seniors, veterans, homeowners, and working families like mine. Strengthen our schools so every child has the opportunity to thrive. And grow our commercial base and revenues so homeowners aren't carrying the 90% of the tax burden. I may be the new guy, but I will show up, do my homework, and always put the people of Methuen first. On November 4th, I'm asking to give the new guy a chance. Give me 1 of your 3 votes for City Councilor at large. And together, we can make a stronger, safer, and more affordable for everyone.
Thank you very much, John. Wanda Santos.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Wanda Santos, and I am running for City Councilor at large for a number of reasons. I am running for the opportunity to bring back some very important topics into our city that involve healthcare, public service, and many others. For the last 25 years, I have done work in the community, and I continue to do work in the community, helping families, individuals with disabilities, and families in crises. It is important for me to continue to do the work that I do, that I don't see as work, that I see as passion, but on a larger scale. So I'm hoping to continue to do this kind of work in our lovely Methuen and find ways to collaborate with other city councilors and the mayor and others to continue to provide the best quality of life for Methuen residents. So this November 4th, I am hoping to gain your vote as I will continue to advocate for people with disabilities, for people with mental health, for economic development, for public safety, and for many other topics that are important for our Methuen residents. I also would love to see the opportunity for us to collaborate together and revitalize downtown Methuen as a collective, as a community. So again, thank you for having me here today, and I look forward to the rest of this evening with the rest of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Wanda. Jim
Good evening,
Sascioni.
Jim Sascioni. I'm proud to say that I'm a political moderate, standing firmly in the center of the political landscape. I believe where most Methuen residents are. I believe in family, community, and obviously public safety, education, and the spending of our tax dollars. I'm a lifelong resident of Methuen. I educated 3 children, K-12, and myself have been here for over 50 years. My prior experience running for the special election for mayor allowed me to gain tremendous knowledge on how municipal government works in Methuen, the roles, the responsibilities, how our budgeting system works, how the state funding, Chapter 70, Chapter 90 funds are allocated, and also in conjunction with our requirements for 40B housing and newly very complex MBTA requirements. I believe the learning curve will be much less, and I'll be able to hit the ground running and have an immediate and positive impact as a team player, working in harmony with the mayor, the school committee, my fellow candidates or council members, and the residents in general. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Francisco Cirillo.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Francisco Cirillo, current city councilor at large, also chairman of the Methuen Housing Authority, as well as the commissioner at large for the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission. I've been in Methuen for the last 15 years. I've served as on the Greater Lawrence Technical School, first one from Methuen in over 38 years to be the chair of that committee. Now, I'm once again running for office as city councilor at large for the city of Methuen to continue doing the work that we've been doing and keep moving the city forward. One of the things is economic growth in the city. We have to grow our tax base. We can't keep taxing the same people. So it's looking at economic development for the city and true economic development that's going to last for the next 20 years moving forward. That's how we're going to grow the city to where it needs, because we need a new public safety building, because we need new facilities for not just the police, but also the fire department, as well as making sure that we are developing housing that our elders can age in place, or as well as housing that our young people, the 25 to 34-year-olds that are graduating college, can go to college but come back and know they have a home in the city of Methuen, where they have been raised for the better part of their lives, as well as continue working with the school committee and looking how we could better support the funding for the city, for the schools. On November 4th, second on the ballot, Francisco Cirillo for growth in Methuen.
Thank you very much, Francisco. Jane Azani Pesh.
Hello, I am Jane Azani Pesh. I am a lifelong resident of Methuen. I grew up right here in the west end of Methuen. I am the product of two parents who were educators for over 35 years. My dad has always been involved in public service, and I think he instilled within me that same sense of responsibility. So I do what I do because of pure love for my city. I now live in the East End with my husband, Vinny, my 3 children, Enzo, Stevie, and Arya. We own a business in Methuen, and right on Merrimack Street. I own my home, I own property. I am so fully vested in our city that every decision I make, I bear the burden of the decision and I reap the benefits. So I'm truly vested. I served on the school committee for 6 years prior to being on the council. Now for the last 2 on the school committee, I was vice chair for 4 of those 6 years. And again, now I sit on the council, and on November 4th, I hope to earn one of your 3 votes so that we can continue moving Methuen in a positive direction. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you to all of you. So we're all set, right? You guys are done for the
We're
night?
See you later.
Yeah, good luck. Sorry, didn't think it would, but we need to lighten up a little here, right? So our first question is going to be 1 minute. John, we're going to be starting with you.
Goody.
Everybody gets a chance to go first.
All right.
Besides your desire to do good, what qualifies you for your sought-after position on the City Council?
As I highlighted in my opening, I am an operations manager for a mechanical contractor. Every day I spend is dealing with multi-million-dollar budgets, negotiating contracts, working with people. I feel like our city is in a position that we need to clean up some of the issues that we have going, and I think one of the biggest ones we have is our budget. And I think my background in operational management and project management is a help to the city.
Great, thank you. Wanda?
I would say that my background as a vice president for a nonprofit for the last, I would say, 2 decades, has really allowed me the opportunity to do strategic planning and to be a lot more innovative and creative in terms of how to spend money and how to really be able to manage a large contract. So I've been in spaces and positions in which I have been responsible for a large contract of close to $30 million. And in that sense, I've been able to really be creative with, where we can save money, where we can not spend money, and where we can perhaps look into grant funding or whatever it may be. So I think that in terms of my personal background and my personal skills in the human service sector, that can be beneficial to a position in the council in that sense. So, and I also think that it's important right now because there's a significant need to really look at the budget.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, your 1 minute is up. Jim?
Sure. Being a lifelong resident of Methuen for the last 50 years, I've definitely seen the challenges of going from 30,000 residents to 60,000, just to round it off. So there's been some significant changes in the city as far as public safety is concerned, education's concerned, housing's concerned, and I think I have a pretty extensive background as a corporate America technology manager at the director level for 20 years, and then being an entrepreneur for the last 20 years, owning a couple different small businesses. And at this point, I'm happy to say I just retired. So I think I have a lot to offer as far as extensive lifelong experiences. Frank?
Her job.
Thank you very much.
Her job.
And by the way, congratulations. I hear retirement's wonderful.
Congratulations on
Francisco?
your retirement. Thank you. So I bring a lot of political experience from the past, since 2011. But it's not just a political experience, but it's also understanding how budgets work, how municipal budgets work, where you can actually add money or you need to cut money. Because the council's job is not to add money, but to cut funds. But really scrutinize how the budget is being brought together. I am trained through the Office of the Inspector General and Procurement. So I look at every contract, everything that comes before me with those eyes. I've taken every training that's possible, that's offered under the sun. But most importantly, I also go out to different cities, different states, different communities, see what they're doing, and how, not just what they're doing correctly, but what are the failures they're doing. That way we can do better in the city of Methuen. And that's what I bring to the table.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Jana?
Last but not least, right?
No, actually, we still have Ryan.
Best for last.
Well, no, we got to renege that now. That's not part of my minute. So, listen, I think communication is the key to any single issue. And I think what I bring to the table is open accessibility. As an attorney, I have to work with people who are constantly on the opposing side. And quite honestly, that's my job, right? You need to learn to disagree without being disagreeable. So I think it's very imperative in government, especially local government, that we bridge those communication gaps. And with doing that, I think we can pretty much accomplish anything.
Thank you very much. And Ryan?
Thank you. The experience that I brought can bring to the council, I'm an educator. I deal with 149 kids a day, and patience is key to being a teacher. So that's another thing I would bring to the council is patience. But also working with stressful situations if you've ever been in a classroom. But also my experience, my political experience, goes back to when I was 16, 17 years old, campaigning. Also, as a school committee member, I worked through COVID. My first 3 months in office, I was shutting down schools, learning a whole different thing that people didn't know what to do during that time. And I managed to be part of making sure our teachers were not laid off. I got 10 seconds. And so with that experience, I hope that with my experience on the school committee and dealing with those stressful situations, I can bring that to the table as a city councilman and making sure that we get things done. Thank you.
Thank you. 1 minute goes fast unless you're trying not to finish in time, right? But that's okay. You'll have time for others. We were asking several different ways through social media and on you name it, as well as Methuen Day. We asked people to submit questions, and we received quite a few of them. So this first one here, or next one I should say, is going to be one of those. We will be starting with you, Wanda. Pleasant Valley School and Courier School are vacant. Would you be in favor of selling, renovating, or demolishing these places, and what would you want to see done? And you have 1 minute.
I would say that my personal view on that specifically would be renovating. Renovating in the sense of being able to still stay with the history that we have here. You know, whether it's a vacant lot or it's a vacant, space that we've used in the past, we can definitely repurpose that for other reasons. Obviously, the funding would have to be something that, where the funding comes from would have to be a conversation, a much larger conversation outside of here. But that would definitely be my take. And what would we use it for? I have a series of ideas from veteran outreach support to after-school programs for kids. I'm a huge mental health advocate in the community, so also, providing specialized curated programs for them, for kiddos in our school, in our community would be very helpful, I think.
Okay, great. Thank you. Jim?
Sure. Typically, the balance of our tax levy in the best case communities is 75% residential, 25% commercial. In Methuen, we barely reached the 15% mark at this time. So what I would like to see is private sector ownership as far as a company obtaining and purchasing and driving some revenue toward Methuen, an ongoing revenue where they are now a taxpayer. Especially, over the last couple of years when we lost, one of our, or the highest taxpayer in Methuen with Holy Family, which was $1 million a year. So I would like it to end up in the private sector, offering jobs and revenue to Methuen.
Okay. Francisco?
It's kind of a funny question because we were just discussing this earlier today. These are properties that can definitely be a mixed-use development where you have commercial on the bottom and residential on top. And one of the things is not just residential, it has to be home ownership. This is how we're going to grow the tax base in the city. The unfortunate for these buildings they are considered what's brownfields, which are contaminated. And retrofitting these kind of buildings is a lot more expensive than rebuilding from the ground up. So I would look to get them declared surplus, get the right buyer in there, and in the right process developer that's going to develop something that's going to be good for the city.
Okay, thank you very much. Jana?
Thank you. Councilor Cirillo actually touched on what I was going to say. Ideally, we can all sit here and say exactly what I would potentially like this to be used for, but I myself have toured the Pleasant Valley School, let's say, and while there might be potential, there are long-term effects to that property that may not make it salvageable. So in these sort of instances, what I would suggest is we need to look deep into exactly how we can use this property, how it's going to most benefit the city, and I would like to see public input, because at the end of the day, that's what we need. We need more people in the community coming forward and telling us how they would like to see these properties used and for what purpose for our residents.
Okay, great. Ryan?
Thank you. I'm on the school committee. We agreed to turn those buildings over to the city. The way I want to see those buildings be processed is Courier is a small lot that should be turned over for residential. But one of the things I want to turn the Pleasant Valley School into is a new fire station. That's one thing. Methuen needs our infrastructure, especially our public safety buildings. Haven't been updated, or we haven't had a news since like the 1970s. I feel like commercial there would be great, but we would have to do a traffic study also to see how much that would, there's traffic problems already up that street. So with a fire station there, also, I need to talk to the firefighters and see how they feel about it again. But I really do believe that we need a new public safety building, such as a fire station.
Okay, great. Thank you. And John?
I believe that it's all going to depend on where we are as a city. Right now, I think our biggest hurdle is the revenue and generating revenue. We see constantly our tax dollars continue to go up and our services keep going down. So I would echo what most of my counterparts here are saying, in the sense that I'd like to see it become a private business, because putting in a public safety building, as much as we need it, and our infrastructure is crumbling because we've had such a long time since we've had new buildings, I think it's not prudent of the tax dollars to go and spend on something until we have the money in the bank to do it. So I would like to see it cleaned up, sold off, so that it can be utilized for revenue-generating business.
Okay, great. Thank you all very much. Very interesting ideas. Jim, we are going to be starting with you next. And your question is, what is your opinion of the purchase of the Searles estate? What is the most important aspect of this property to you? Its value as real estate, historic preservation, or something else entirely? And you have 1 minute.
Okay. So again, this is a prior subject I touched upon in the special election. My biggest concern, and not to go back in time, but we purchased that for whatever reason without a plan at the time, and now we're struggling financially to maintain the property. I absolutely want to preserve the history, but also want to combine some type of revenue-driven opportunity there. I think we bring in a consultant team to decide which is best suited for the area and to retain our historical monument and of the city. Absolutely.
Okay, great. Francisco.
Since I've been on the council, I think this topic has come up constantly, and I'm probably the person that keeps bringing it up. One of the biggest things with the Searles Estate is probably one of the few councilors under the council right now that did not want to put this on RFP. There are huge opportunities for this particular property. Historical designation, as well as parks designation, and making it a space where the city of Methuen can go and enjoy. But with that comes the challenges. One of the biggest challenges is the lack of revenue to support such an endeavor. So we have to get the right developer in there that's going to make sure that they're going to, not developer, a historian that's going to revitalize and restore the facility, as well as giving space for the public to use, because it's a beautiful venue, and if anybody's ever toured it, they will know. And these are the historical things that we have to preserve, not just for us, but my granddaughter, our grandkids, our future kids, future people that are coming to the city of Methuen.
Unfortunately, your minute is up, but thank you very much. Jana.
I think I would need an hour to answer this question, just as a sidebar.
You have 60 seconds.
Thank
just
you.
To clarify.
So, I, again, as a lifelong resident, I saw the irreversible loss of the Tenney Castle, of the monuments that we gave away. On the council, I absolutely advocated for the purchase of this. I'm not sure what to do with it. We need to protect it. We need to protect our access in perpetuity, and we do need some sort of revenue generating mechanism there to ensure its sustainability. I was the councilor who advocated also for opening up the RFP bidding, not to see it reworked, because I will do everything in my power to preserve the integrity and the history of this property. But I am not a developer. We need innovative ideas. We need someone to come in and show us the way with this property. It has been done. We have the Stevens Estate in North Andover. It has been done. We can do it. How much Methuen wants to put into it is going to be up to us.
Okay. Thank you very much. You've given that some thought. Ryan.
Yes.
The channel is
Okay.
Commercial break, commercial break.
It's the ghosts that work around you, Ryan.
So I agree with the purchasing of the Searles Estate, especially when Methuen has sold off its history. But the problem is there was no plan put in place. And the thing about that I'm still struggling with, we've had it in our position now for a year, and we haven't even applied for grants. We haven't done anything to try to preserve it at any level. With the estate alone, I have ideas. That could be a great entertainment venue. Also, the fact that it could have weddings there, receptions, and I understand we have to get it up to ADA compliance, but there are grants, especially in Massachusetts, that are on the federal level that we could have been applying to. Like I said, we've had it for a year, and nothing has, to my knowledge, and I could be wrong, that's being done to try and preserve it and make it part of Methuen. And when I'm on the council, I would like to have that plan put in place to see if we can preserve the building on our own.
Thank you very much. And John.
I think that preserving it is an absolute need. Our city it's a beautiful building. There's a lot of history there. I think we did the right thing as a council for preserving it and taking it so we can control what's going to happen with it. I think when we eventually move on from it, because I don't think it is a possibility for us to financially handle what's needed to go into that building to make it up to code or develop it the way it needs to be developed. When we send it out to have a developer of some sort look at it, I think having the ability to control what's going to be done with it is a great thing, and I think the council did a right job doing that. I don't want to see a lot of development in that area, but I want to see the Searles Estate become something that gets to preserve its history. So I want to see the developer do something architecturally that is beautiful and control it properly.
Thank you very much. Wanda.
My opinion in this would be one of two. I would say that initially, history for me is very important. So obviously, we would love to preserve its history. It's a beautiful estate. But I also greatly believe in being fiscally responsible. So having a plan in place and having, perhaps a consultant or having others join the team to come up with creative ideas as to how we can utilize this space would be extremely important. Again, history is important. Methuen is a beautiful city, and it's a beautiful city because of venues and spaces and properties like the Searles Estate. So there's potential for sure. There's potential, and I think that it's important for us to just continue to move on and just look at a more creative way to be able to maintain it.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. We're getting into the really good questions now. You get a minute and a half. Now, don't all get excited at once. Francisco, we'll be starting with you.
Of course.
The city is considering places to build a new public safety center. Should the city use a property we currently own or take another property by eminent domain, or do you have other ideas?
I love this question. We've been going over this question a lot. So we have several properties. One will be the current police station that we could redevelop into a public safety area. But one of the biggest things is taking the days in by eminent domain. We have a problem in that particular site. This will clear three birds with one stone. So what you look at is taking that particular parcel by eminent domain, where you could create a public safety facility, which we could house the fire department, the police department, as well as DPW. This saves money in the long run, because with a fire station as part of that, we're not ordering new trucks that we have to retrofit to fit the station now, which is where we lose a lot of funding. So in the long run is a savings for us in that area. Man, that was a quick minute and a half.
Okay, that was quick. Jana?
Thanks. Our first responders in particular deserve buildings that they can, work out of and feel safe in and do what they need to do to protect the residents. I think taking the days in by eminent domain for a public safety facility is probably one of the smartest things that the city could do right now. I have personally toured every public safety building in Methuen, and let me tell you, they are all in disrepair. It is a shame. And the cost to fix all of those buildings might be astronomical for us. So I think this might be a great way to alleviate, kill three birds with one stone, as you said, and to alleviate the burden and potentially rehabilitate the whole public safety works, have them in one place. And then they're floating around other ideas as well, like turning Central Station, which although it's in disrepair, is gorgeous, for ambulance to operate out of. So there's definite potential in doing that.
Okay, thank you very much. Ryan?
Thank you. Like I said earlier with the Pleasant Valley School, to turn that into a fire station, I'm all for eminent domaining the days in because people in Methuen think that's already a burden to Methuen after the recent years. However, though, what I'm concerned about is you are taking more commercial real estate and tax revenue, commercial tax revenue, away from the city of Methuen. So the only way I would agree with that for eminent domain is what is the plan to generate revenue to make up from what we're going to lose? Because we're already $1 million from the Holy Family. And I think if I'm correct, we get about $90,000 to $100,000 from the days in. So by taking that building, you're already putting us in a $1.1 million deficit of tax revenue. So unless the mayor or someone else could come up with a plan to build commercial, I'm all up for discussion.
Okay, thank you. John?
I'm not opposed to taking the days in by eminent domain. Similar to what Mr. DeZoglio said, was my concern is that we would lose revenue. I'm kind of going to beat on that drum because I think our city's biggest issue is our revenue. To build a safety building, we're probably looking at about 70, 80 close to $100 million to do it properly. Of course, there's grants and other things out there that we'll be able to go for, but to put a large loan on the city and on the taxpayers without putting commercial base back into the city properly, I don't think is completely fiscally prudent. We have to look at what the sales of the other buildings that the current police and fire are in that could generate revenue and how much that would offset the building costs for the new building. So I think there is a lot that goes into that. So I'm not opposed to it. I think we do need a new safety building because I believe our first responders need to go to work safely and go home safely at the end of every night. So that's my stance.
Okay, thank you. Wanda?
I believe in the work that our first responders do. I work really closely with them in various capacities, and I heavily agree with a lot of, those here speaking about them, really needing a better space to work out of because of the work that they do. But again, I go back to being fiscally responsible and really having some kind of a strategic plan and the opportunity to have perhaps a phase-out process where you're looking at a 1 to 5 year plan, perhaps where there's possibly, a space that we can utilize in the meantime while we're developing an opportunity and strategically having the ability to go out to go see other properties throughout our city so that we can utilize existing property and then build out new property eventually, because financially right now I don't think we're in the position where we can just spend the money that we would need to. So.
Okay. Jim?
Thank you. First and foremost, I'm a strong advocate of our first responders, public safety, Methuen Police Department, Methuen Fire Department. But I feel like I'm at a slight disadvantage here because this is a lot of due diligence that needs to be discussed in order to just come up, what should we do? What are the values of the current properties in their current position? Can that money be, recouped if we decide to take a piece of property by eminent domain? If you take a piece of existing property by eminent domain, then there's the whole demolition cost, and who knows if there's hazardous waste, et cetera. So is there a vacant piece of land somewhere that might be more in line with, being cost effective in, making such a decision? So I think it always comes down to, and I think everybody's in agreement here, is, cash, tax dollars. How does it impact the resident? Where's the trade-off between public safety and money? So it's a complex situation, and it'll be a very long discussion and a lot of due diligence.
Okay. Thank you very much. And last but not least, Jana, you will be starting the next question. Post-COVID funding under the American Rescue Plan Act has helped pay for infrastructure improvements, such as water mains, that were put off in favor of other priorities. What do you see are the next priorities for strengthening Methuen's infrastructure? And you have 1 minute.
Thank you. Infrastructure is something we hear a lot about at the Methuen Council meetings, and rightly so. We have a lot of debilitating roads, which aren't only inconvenient, but can pose a real problem for our residents' safety, our residents' property. I think we are doing what needs to be done. We're trying to streamline getting things fixed. They did set up the Click Fix, See Click Fix, I think, although I've heard of some disconnect between that. But we need to allocate, we need to prioritize the urgency of what needs to be done against the most return. So let's say if there's a debilitating street near a commercial business, that needs to be prioritized with our funding so that we can then leverage that into our streets. And then there's also another issue of unaccepted roads. There are a lot of unaccepted roads in Methuen that have debilitating infrastructure that need to be addressed as well. And as a council, it's something we've been working quite diligently to try to address.
Thank you very much. Ryan?
I'm going to go off of my Councilor Pesh. Roads, also sidewalks, is a major issue from talking to constituents. My thing about the infrastructure is that I feel like Methuen does quick fixes. I feel like we'll spend the cheapest way possible, and then in 10, 15 years from now, we're doing it over again, it seems. And this goes from sidewalks, parks, and stuff like that. So what I want to do is make sure when we are doing these infrastructure stuff, we have a maintenance fund, so that if a park is deteriorating, we're not waiting for 25 years to fix the park. Or if we're going to spend money on sidewalks, we put concrete sidewalks instead of asphalt. Because at the end of the day, concrete lasts about 50 years, where tar sidewalks end up in 15 years. So what we would have paid for the concrete sidewalk now, we're paying for the same thing that we have now.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And John?
I think some of the infrastructure that we have, as everybody has alluded to, our roads aren't exactly great. Just to go off of that, if we took some of the free cash that we talk about that we have, and we bulk buy 3 years' worth of roads, and we put the money forward, because we always get our state money, we put that money forward and then be able to recoup our cash, it'll allow us to have a 3-year contract out there that will help us to pave more roads faster. It'll also allow us to buy in bulk. So as a contractor, I can tell you that when I get a contract that might be out there that says it's a 3-year contract, it's more enticing to me than a 1-year contract. So I know that I'll have my business issues where my project manager and everybody else who's working in that area, I'll be able to cut those costs, which will help us pave more roads when we need to. Being prudent with the money that we get is definitely something we're going to have to do. And I think parks is a big issue that we have also. Again, I have children. Maybe that's just a personal thing for me. But yeah.
Thank you very much. Wanda?
I personally would say sidewalks are one of the priorities. Being an advocate for people with disabilities and people that are older and unable to necessarily walk safely on a lot of our sidewalks, I think it's important for us to do some kind of a feasibility assessment across the board to make sure that, you know, we're prioritizing. We have a priority list. We know exactly, you know, where we're going to target some of these repairs, or if we need to absolutely, you know, completely tear a certain section up and rebuild, that we're talking about that, and that we're coming up with solutions so that we can have a safer community for our folks, regardless of your abilities. So I would say sidewalks right now.
Okay, thank you. Jim?
Yeah, I'd like to acknowledge, I think Mayor Beauregard has stepped it up in this past year as far as road repair. I've noticed a lot of it. I think that we need to have our state reps work the state level and increase Chapter 70 funding and get more money allocated to us. And as Mayor Beauregard has indicated before, we have an excellent bond rating for the city, so maybe we can borrow some cash and, you know, pay it over a period of time, you know, to kind of enhance, get the step up on the road activities like Mr. Drew just said. So I think there's a few opportunities there to excel.
Okay, thank you. Francisco?
Some of these unaccepted ways we get them accepted at the state level by the city, we'll increase our Chapter 90 funds, which is where it is used for infrastructure repairs. But we also are looking at huge cuts that are coming from federal level. So we have to start planning precisely how we're going to manage those particular subjects. And sidewalks, making sure they're ADA compliant for the people in the city, as well as making sure our parks are done correctly and perfectly for our kids and our families to enjoy. These are the things that where you have to start looking at and planning correctly. And I will agree that this is a part where we get the state delegation, not just the state delegation, but the federal delegation involved as well. This is about communication and working together with every partner and elected official from the federal, the state, the municipal, and the schools into planning to work together into actually doing a economic plan for the city.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Now, don't anybody cry, but that's the first half is down. However, that being said, we actually had a lot of people that asked us a few yes or no questions for you, and so we thought we'd kind of have a little bit of fun with them. So if we want to go to a wide shot, we are going to be having you raise your hands, yes or no. So yes, did you vote in the last presidential election? Yes, do you approve of term limits for local elected officials? And yes, do you support the ban on automatic weapons in our state? And that actually does wrap up the whole first half of the section. So you guys get to take a break, and you guys get to take a break at home as well. But that doesn't mean change the channel, because we will be back in 2 minutes to hear more about what these candidates are wanting to say and wanting you to hear. Stay tuned.
This local channel is sponsored by Michaud Insurance. Since 1979, Michaud Insurance has been providing comprehensive insurance options to our friends and neighbors. Find out how we work for you at 978-685-2549 or at michaudinsurance.com.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
I am so sorry I was late. I was at the retina specialist getting my first AMD treatment. I was worried that the injection would hurt, but it was much better than I expected.
I'm so glad you're getting your AMD treated. Did you go to the same retina specialist that I see for my diabetic retinopathy?
Yes, and I was already having blurred central vision. And the retina specialist told me that by treating it early, I had a better chance of saving and even improving my vision.
It's important that we see an expert for our retinal conditions. A retina specialist also treated my son when his retina detached several years ago. The surgery saved his sight. When your vision is at risk from retinal disease, you need the expertise of a retina specialist. Retina specialists are highly trained physicians and surgeons who treat retinal conditions in adults and children, as well as severe eye trauma. If you experience blurred central vision, a curtain-like shadow in your vision, floaters, flashing lights, or wavy lines, see a retina specialist as soon as possible.
Love the yes or no.
Welcome back to the Councilor at Large Forum. We want to thank you for staying tuned. And if you are just joining us, we are here about halfway through our Councilor at Large Forum, as I just said. And I am joined by Ryan DiZoglio, John Drew, Wanda Santos, Jim Sarcioni, Francisco Cirillo, and Jana Zani-Pesh. They have all been kind enough to put themselves forward to want to represent you for the next 2 years. We did bring, actually, you guys were really good about bringing something to my attention during the break, and the wording on our last question was not properly worded. So I'm going to reword the last one. So on a raise of hands, do you support the ban on assault weapons in our state? Okay, thank you very much. And getting back to that, we are going to start all over again with Ryan. I knew you'd be excited.
Why not?
With the recent developments shining a light on human sex trafficking, what resources should the city devote to make Methuen less accessible to sex traffickers? You have 1 minute, by the way.
I would say everything necessary. That question, like that sex trafficking shouldn't be allowed in anywhere. So I would say any resources the chief of police needs to make sure these are not happening in our city. And the chief of police knows me from the school committee. I've always been a public safety advocate. Whenever the police department needed something for the schools, I granted it. So if the chief came to me and said, we need this to make sure that sex trafficking is not happening in our city, then that's great. Like, I will advocate for that. But also I would like to know, because from what the news say, these have been going on for 2, maybe 3 years. Again, I don't know what the news says, but why aren't the inspectors been going in those places? I would like to know, why haven't we been doing routine checks into these buildings where we could have possibly stopped this a long time ago?
Thank you very much. And just a reminder, you have 1 minute. It wasn't that I didn't want to hear what you had to say. Unfortunately, your time was up. John Drew?
I think it all kind of comes back down to funding, because I believe every budget needs to be properly funded in order to handle things like this. Sex trafficking is obviously a terrible thing, and is this a problem where maybe there wasn't enough funding allocated to the inspectors to be able to man every business that needs to be watched and policed? Do the police need to put together the task force? Do they have the amount of resources to do that? A lot of that's going to come back to making sure that we are generating revenue and we cannot have to worry about cutting and finding ways to save money as a city.
Okay, thank you. Wanda?
For me, I would say that as a certified trauma coach, this line of work in terms of public safety is extremely important. But that does not mean that that we don't necessarily that we can necessarily stop, right, what happens in our community. So I think that it's important for us to take a spin on it and educate our community, educate people out there, not necessarily just other businesses or sister and brother, local businesses that are nearby, but just people in general, to watch out for signs and to report and to know exactly who they're calling and who they have to call to make, these kinds of report, because obviously this is how it was founded, by neighbors calling this in. So it's important for us to educate the community as to what they should be reporting, so that we can try to stop this as fast as possible and as soon as possible.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I like to characterize it as human trafficking. It's not only in the sex area, it's also in the workplace, and where employers are using open-end promises for people to promise them citizenship, housing, food. So it's a pretty wide-scale problem, citywide, statewide, countrywide. And I just think we need to have our police department needs to have the right tools and technologies in place to cooperate with other state agencies, federal agencies, and really understand from a large task force position, how to conquer this problem, because it's in every community.
Okay. Thank you very much. Francisco?
I want to agree. I, as the inspectional services, needs to be better staffed. We're a huge community, and these are the things that they could have easily looked at and found as a problem, as well as better supporting the police. And if we have more community policing, then you have neighbors who know officers by name and say, hey, there's a problem over here. So these are the things that we have to look at when we're talking about the budget moving forward, with inspectional service, the police department, as well as educating the community and to look at all the signs that's out there.
Okay, thank you. Jana?
Let's make sure we know this is not just Methuen. This is happening everywhere. And I, for one, am so proud of how our police department and our city handled this horrific set of events. But we need to continue to send a strong message that we will not tolerate illegal businesses that exploit people or hurt our neighborhoods. And we need to continue to do that. We need stronger licensing checks, and we need stronger inspection protocols so that these people, these criminals, cannot hide behind storefronts.
Thank you all very much. I know that's a very hard topic right now, or ever, to discuss, and especially to discuss it in 1 minute. Thank you all for sharing your viewpoints. And moving to something a little bit lighter, John, you get to go first.
I'm seeing some favoritism.
I'm the new guy. I'm nervous. So
We'll be nice. You know, like you said, this is his first time. Next time, don't worry. With the addition of Tuscan Village and the opening of Casino Salem, the challenge of attracting people to the city for shopping and entertainment has become more challenging. What can Methuen do to attract these type of businesses to set up shop here instead of over the border?
I think one of the hardest things that we have right now is our image because of the things that are happening currently in our community. So to attract business, we have to be an attractive community to do that. To look at where Tuscan is and the casino gambling just over the border, I think we all know that brick and mortar stores aren't going to last long here in Methuen because it is very easy to just go over the border and buy your goods. I think we have to look at trying to become some sort of an entertainment hub or bringing something in that's going to draw people here from a venue standpoint, whether that's a 4,000-seat theater that's going to bring sizable acts, whatever that may be, to help drive downtown. I think you can see things at the Loop. You can maybe bring in a grassy area with a larger stage, offer them sort of incentives to put a parking garage behind. That could allow them to put beer gardens out front with a stage. That could possibly be allowed for movies and things like that in the summer for families to be able to come and watch. Yeah.
Okay, great. Wanda?
My take is that we have a lot of potential here in Methuen, and I think that we don't necessarily take full advantage of what we can do here. We can easily, residents from Methuen can easily, you know, like you said, go out to Tuscan Village and many other surrounding places to have a good time with their families, with their kids, go to the movies or whatever may be. I think that there needs to be an aggressive plan for Methuen so that we can revitalize it, specifically downtown, the Loop area, and over by the east as well. There's a lot of potential and a lot of things that we can do, but entertainment, as Drew was mentioning, is I think something that we're lacking for sure. People work hard here and they want to digress and they want to have fun and just relax after hours and and also over the weekends with their kids. So it would be really great for us to have a little bit more entertainment in our community.
Okay, thank you. Jim?
Sure. Personally, I'm very disappointed how the Loop has transitioned. At one time, we had one of the first malls in the state, and at this point, the Market Basket footprint, as well as the Havel Street Market Basket footprint, hasn't changed since its inception. So in conjunction with that, I mean, there's like 13 fast food restaurants there. The entertainment is a great idea, but that's a strain on our public services, depending on the venue. The Tuscan models, it's a proven model, but how can we differentiate that for a little bit and kind of enhance the area a little better than what has transpired?
Okay, thank you. Francisco?
One is making Methuen more business friendly, cutting the red tapes. One of the biggest problems Methuen has right now, and talking to the developers like Joe Farrell from Tuscan Village, is Methuen is not friendly for businesses and developers. So we have to start cutting that red tape. Something John has talked about that I've been talking about is how we redevelop the Loop area. Yes, we could put a parking garage behind the Loop because that parking is underutilized, and do a venue in the front and have people parking in the back like Sal has at Riverwalk, as well as a field on top of that garage. So it's looking at how we strategically do these events in places. This is not the first time Methuen has gone through this struggle. Methuen Mall closed down because of Rockingham, so we have a proven record of bouncing back. So if we start putting the plan together, we will bounce back and make it feasible for the city of Methuen.
Okay, thank you very much. Jana?
Thanks. I don't want to ignore the fact that the downtown absolutely needs to be revitalized. However, I think in terms of bringing people in for some sort of hub as a revenue generator for Methuen, absolutely we need to look at the Loop. Now, the Loop is never going to be Tuscan Village. It's not going to be. But what can we take from that model? And I will echo the sentiments of a lot of what was already said. We need to take from that model. We need to get businesses in. We need to aggressively market to get businesses in easily, make our city attractive to these businesses so that we can get our residents and those from outside of our community as well to enjoy these facilities. And we need to look as a community at community development and what we want to see going in Methuen. I agree, the loop started out with great land of possibilities, and it's continually kind of been on the decline. What can we get in there to make Methuen attractive, and how can we help them as a city to be attractive to those businesses?
Okay, great. Ryan?
Yeah, just going off of my counterparts, everybody says we gotta redo the downtown. I've been here for 27 years, and they've been saying that for 27 years. It's time for a face facts. We have all these abandoned lots, and nothing's being built. That's why, going off of Councilor, we need to cut the red tape, have developers either we buy the properties from these owners, or we tell them, hey, we'll give you incentives to stop building and bringing in development. Also, we need restaurants, bars, pubs. We only have like 2 places really to go, or 3. You have the Clatter, the Irish Cottage, Bada Bing's, Muddy Waters just reopened, but we need more entertainment. We have Merrimack College down the road. We want to attract college kids to maybe come to our town to spend money here. Also, I feel like the Loop, we have that back parking lot. We can always expand it or also build up. We need to start thinking bigger. Like I said, these are ideas, but at least they're ideas.
Okay. Thank you all very much, and some great ideas too. So, Wanda, you're going to be starting the next question, and I want to make sure I have the right question here because I would hate to do that to you. What city council committees do you or would you like to serve on if elected this term? But let's change it to when for everybody. I don't know how that works, but we will. And you have 1 minute to answer.
It seems like an easy question, but it's not. I would say there's so many that I would like to join, truthfully. I would like to prioritize just economic development and being able to really be at the table to be a voice, a collective voice to find ways to bring businesses to what Cirillo is mentioning, businesses here to the community that actually feel comfortable and safe here, and so that they can thrive, because we're not necessarily very friendly, I think, in Methuen in terms of, really being inclusive and open to new ideas and new kinds of businesses. And I think that would really do something very well for our community in terms of bringing in more revenue.
Okay, great. Jim?
I would like to strongly work hand in hand with the school committee to really enhance our academic achievements in education in Methuen. To me, that really empowers our children, really builds a foundation for our community. In conjunction, I think we're all on the same page and all see the problem of our commercial community development. Point that in the direction of more mom and pop, small businesses, user-friendly versus, franchise. People don't even live in the community, having businesses right now.
Okay, thank you. Francisco?
Budget and Finance Committee, as well as the Housing Committee, and the unaccepted ways, because these are the ones that will actually make a tremendous impact in the city.
Okay. Jana?
So currently I'm on the Financing Committee and the Economic Development Committee. What's interesting is when I started, when you become a counselor, you get this chance to join these committees. And what I thought I would be interested in, not that I'm not, there are definitely other committees that I've been drawn to, right? Like the unaccepted ways and means. I think that's very interesting. It was something I didn't even know was a real need in Methuen until I really got into the thick of it. And I want to throw this out for everyone here as well. If there is something that you're very passionate about, you can set up your own committee for that too, to act as a conduit between yourself and whatever you're doing. So it's definitely something to think of, and I think as I get more into it, I'm just floating around ideas in my head. I'm not going to throw them out there, but there are definitely things. I think your focus sometimes shifts, and as a counselor, you are able to at least, like I said, be that conduit to whatever you are interested in to meet that goal.
Okay, great. Ryan?
The two subcommittees I would love to be on is the economic development, because I feel like new ideas are needed into this town, and I think I could bring those ideas, but also the public safety, because I want to make sure our first responders have the resources they need to make sure they can do their job. I also want to make sure that by communicating, being a branch to the council, just like I have done with the teachers and the paras on the school committee, that they have a voice that is going to be advocating for them as well. So that's the two subcommittees I would like to be part of.
Okay, great. And John?
The two subcommittees that I would like to be part of, I think, would be the Economic Development Subcommittee, as I have a background in construction and so forth, and also the Budget and Finance Committee. I served on the Plumbers and Gas Fitters Local 12 Budget and Finance Committee. Did that for many years, along with my background in my current role as operations manager for the company I work for. I think I have a very strong background in that. So those would be the two I would like to be a part of.
Okay, great. Thank you all very much. Your next question is going to be 1.5 minutes, and I'm going to just remind you that personal attacks are not allowed during this next question for those of you who... Considering how the city was impacted by school department budget issues and how contentious it was, how do you propose the school committee and city council work together going forward? And Jim, you are lucky enough to get to start this one.
Yeah, there's no doubt that, Methuen has a little bit of history here of not really, the departments really working in harmony. And I'm not saying all departments, but a few departments. And it's, really the council and the school committee, the mayor, really should have a lot more time spent together than, the proposed once a month. That, from what I understand, doesn't always, draw, quorum for that. But I think that, stuff needs to be done, discussed, talked about, challenged long before it comes time for budgets. By the time it comes time for budgets, everything should be on the table, understood, worked through, and effectively coordinating, what are the requirements and how are we going to achieve that.
Okay, thank you very much. Francisco, 1.5 minutes.
Thank you. It's a loaded question, but yeah, we've, as two counselors that have been school committee members as well as council, we've seen it from both ends, is having partnership with the school committee, but understanding that there is a separation between the city council and the school committee. They have to be able to control their budget. They have to be able to present, to look at their budget and look at the financial impact that their budget is going to impact the city. With that, understanding that the council is going to also be looking at that budget and how it's been done from contracts as well. And these are the things that are going to impact the city, which we will have some kind of an input to say, hey, you might want to go back to the drawing board and relook at those contracts. Or you look at your budget again, because there are going to be huge cuts coming out from the federal level. So we have to be very strategic in how we do this. And this is going to take a collaborative effort between the schools committee and the city council, and sometimes even the state delegation coming into this in play.
Okay. Thank you very much. Jana.
I think we need to get rid of this us versus them mentality. I did serve on the school committee prior. I'm proud to say that I still have a lot of wonderful existing relationships with the staff and teachers and administration there. And it goes back to communication, which was my first, statement of the night. I sat on that council this year at the budget presentations with fingers flying at me saying that, it was my fault. I hadn't even received the budget at that point. Luckily, I have open communication with staff, with teachers, and I'm able to have those dialogues. And I'm happy to say that even after that, I was endorsed by the MEA. So I think it goes to, again, communication. Strong schools equal a strong community. I will never support cutting a classroom-facing position. It's very important to me. I think it's important to our students. We have to be very careful how and what we do. But keep in mind, the council, and we said this at the budget meetings, does not have the right to make specific adjustments within the school budget. So we need better planning. I don't want any staff member throughout the city to ever feel like their job is on the line. And unfortunately, we have a history in Methuen of our teachers specifically feeling like that. And it's a shame for what they do for this city. Thank you.
Okay, Ryan.
So I want to say that as an educator, I understand, and a school committee, how it feels to be in the position like that we were just passed in, where resources are limited, class sizes are added, and teachers get bogged down. Teachers get burnt out really quickly, and that's why if you saw me on the school committee, every time I knew that the budget that was coming in front of me that wasn't going to benefit our teachers, I voted no. Because I'm not going to vote yes on a budget that I know that is going to affect not just the teachers and staff of Methuen Public Schools, but our children. I had a good relationship with the council. I understand what they went through, which I never pointed fingers at them, because I believe that we need to have that dialogue and communication with each other, because we both represent Methuen. We both want what's best for Methuen Public Schools. And at the end of the day, we have a long way to go. But I do thank the mayor for doing what he did. We're tearing up the rugs, we're putting new floors down finally, we're improving our school system. We are dealing with other issues, but we are continuously improving, and I thank the mayor and the city council currently for giving the schools what they need to get our infrastructure up.
Okay, thank you. And John?
I believe I'm the only candidate here with children currently in the Methuen Public School System. So this hits me at home personally. So I strongly believe that we have to have open communication with the school committee and the city council on a regular basis. Have open dialogue regularly, not just a meeting before a meeting that nothing actually gets accomplished. I think scheduling real meetings that will allow some substance to come from, so that we don't end up with the budget crisis that we saw this past year. If there isn't a want on that side of the table, I have no problem acting as a parent and sitting at the school committee meetings and listening and participating myself. I agree with what's been said, that the us versus them mentality needs to go away. I think that we need to operate as one city so that we can move things forward, because fighting against each other isn't going to help anything. Excuse me. I think somebody touched on job retention. One of the biggest things in business is trying to keep your people. And if people don't feel secure in their business or in their job, they're going to go and look other places. And you don't want to lose good people and continue to lose good people. So trying to find stability in their employment is key. So again, it drives back to what we've been talking about most of the night, is the city finding revenue and making sure that we have the funding to properly fund our schools.
Okay, and Wanda?
I would personally say that collaboration is key. Collaboration is key. This is not a job that one body can take care of. This is a collective effort, right? So with that said, the only way of really getting to the end goal, which is making sure that our kids have what they need in terms of resources, that the teachers are being supported in the way that they need to be supported, and that the funding is exactly where it needs to be. I think that the only way of doing that is by collaborating. I think that the second word I'm going to use is transparency. There is a theme, I think, going where we are all seeking more transparency across the board in Methuen, and the only way of being able to get that is by really having open dialogue and open communication and meeting a lot more. and having difficult conversations that we perhaps don't feel comfortable having, but we have to have, so that moving forward we can have actual solutions and stop, finger pointing, because that's not doing anything for us or our community. So I would say just continued conversations, continued dialogue between each body, both council and school committee, as well as a collaborative effort of coming up with solutions instead of finger pointing.
Thank you very much. And Jim?
Didn't I start?
You still have the same question.
Well, did you?
I thought he started.
No, same
I think
question.
he started.
Didn't you start?
I started.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I had the wrong notes in front of me.
It was 10 minutes ago.
Throw a couple more sentences out there.
We're doing number 2.
Do second round.
I would have used that opportunity. Well, now.
Right? I got more to say.
Thank you for correcting me. It's been a long night already.
No worries.
Long night.
I was just kind of, more concerned that you guys were going to, have arguments. This has been the least argumentative forum I've ever seen. And I appreciate that. It's much easier for this side
You
of
want
the
us to
table.
argue? I mean, we could start a little bit.
I don't like Frank's jacket.
We'll save that for next week.
Like,
But-
I also have grandkids in the
You do. You do.
in the school system.
You do.
That's how much argument we're gonna have.
So actually so many of you do have kids in the school system, just to clarify?
I'm the only one with my personal children. Others have.
My kids have gone through the school system, my 3 youngest. Now my grandkids are going through, 2 of my grandkids are going through the school system now.
Okay. And you have a niece?
My niece just started a little bit. Well, she's doing a little bit.
Okay.
So,
So there's familiarity with the school system. That being said, we are pretty much done for this evening. That also being said, that doesn't mean you're off the hook. We are going to start with Francisco, and you have 2 minutes each to do your closing statements.
Okay. I love closing.
It's,
Thank you, everyone, for being here today and for tuning in. My name is Francisco Cirillo, Kid City Councilor at Large, number 2 on the ballot. I would like to have your support on November 4th. I'm keeping it short.
Okay.
I'll keep mine short as well. First of all, thank you to Methuen Community Studios. This is such an asset for our town. Honestly, truly, thank you to all your volunteers and for putting this out there. I think it was a great forum so that people could learn a little bit more about what we stand for. Hopefully you're tuning into the council meetings as well. My name is Jana Zani-Pesh. I am your current councilor at large, running for re-election. I'm number 5 on the ballot. Again, I am a lifelong resident. This city means so much to me. And I just hope to earn your vote on November 4th. If you'd like to learn more of what I'm about, feel free to visit peshforprogress.com or reach out to me. One of my best qualities is accessibility. I think I have been very accessible and transparent over the last 2 years and will continue to do so. So feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Ryan?
thank you again for having me tonight. What can I say? I've been here for 27 years. I've been on the school committee for the last 6, and for the people that know me, I love my city. I've never made a decision on a political agenda. I did it because I thought it was best for my constituents, because I was raised in a family of public service. You are to give back to what that are giving you this opportunity. The constituents vote you in. In that takes a lot of responsibility. And your decision shouldn't be just based off of your agenda, but what the people want you to do. And if I'm your city council, I will give you that again, like I did for the last 6 years. Everybody in this room that knows me, they know that I will do in the best interest of Methuen, because I love this city. I want to stay here forever, and I want to continue to give back to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I'm number 1 on the ballot.
John Drew.
Where am I looking? There?
Camera 3.
There he is. Nope, 2 now. There we go. We're all over. I want to start by thanking Methuen Community Studios for the opportunity to speak to the voters tonight. This has been a long and eye-opening journey. Running for office is not easy. It takes time, energy, and money. making yourself vulnerable by putting yourself out there. And I've developed a real appreciation for anybody who's willing to do that, no matter their opinions on anything in this world. I want to thank my fellow candidates for running a clean, professional race. I genuinely like everybody on this as people. I've appreciated the conversations, the respect, and a little bit of fun along the way. That's been a highlight of this. It's my first time ever running for anything. I also want to thank my mother for all the babysitting that she does while I'm out campaigning. And to anybody else who's helped me and stepped up to help my campaign so far. If you'd like to learn more about me or get in touch or even volunteer, you can log on to my website, www.drewformethuen.com, and we can always use more help. And finally, I want to thank my wife, Caitlin, and my kids. They've been incredible through all of this, and I'm doing this for them to help build a city and a home that they can be proud of. On November 4th, I am going to be one of the new guys, and I'm asking you to give the new guy a chance and give me one of your 3 votes. I'm number 4 on the ballot, and I hope to earn your support. Thank you.
Wanda Santos.
Again, my name is Wanda Santos, and I was born and raised in Lawrence, and I moved to Methuen in 2011. I love the city. This is my home. This is where I do work. This is where I provide all of the support that I do to clients. This is where I do business, and so much more. My family's here. I would love to thank my family for all of the support that they've given me. For someone who has never run for office before, I'm doing this because I've always provided public service in the community for folks in different capacities, whether you're a veteran, you're a child with special needs, or you're a senior citizen needing resources. So none of that will change. I'm just seeking to provide additional services in a larger scale. So I am number 6 on the ballot. I am hoping that I can get your support this upcoming November 4th. And I would love to continue to do the work that I am doing in a different capacity with some of these amazing people that are next to me today. So thank you.
Thank you.
Methuen, frankly, in the past at times, has been a difficult place politically. I'd like to move beyond that stigma. I'd like to be a partner with the mayor, a partner with the school committee, be transparent, and especially be a partner with the fellow city council members. I do believe we need to invest in our future. I do believe there are some redundancies across different departments within the city. I think by being more efficient, we can allocate some of that funding to areas where it is very necessary, such as public safety, education, teachers. I think that in the big picture, we can streamline our city government in a better way. And I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Thank you very much. There's only one number left, but just look for that name, Sassioni. I'd appreciate that. I guarantee you'll be pleased in the future. Thank you. And thank you, people.
I want to thank all of you for being here tonight, and especially for putting yourself out there, because, like you said, it is not easy. It puts you in a very vulnerable position, and I really admire all of you and all the candidates who do that. When you sit on this side of the table, it sounds a lot easier than I'm sure you guys have it. And thank you for that, because as a resident, I really appreciate that you want to spend your time helping and taking care of the city. So we want to thank you for that. And thank you all for joining us tonight for Methuen Community Studios Candidate at Large Forum.
I can't wait to do it again.
We could start all over again if you want, Jim.
We can give it a little time.
Just head to head with Ryan.
Oh, wait. I'll say it. You want me to say it? Good night, Methuen. Because I got to do on school committee.
I'll let you hold off one more minute on that, just because I'm actually a little earlier than I was supposed to be. But I do want to thank you also for tuning in at home. Jane, I believe it was, that brought it up. All of the production that you've seen tonight has been volunteer driven. All of our cameras are run by some great volunteers. Our timers are volunteers. Quite a bit of our crew is volunteer. And that being said, there's always an extra camera around if you would like to volunteer. So check us out at MethuenTV.org. While you're there, you can also find out the upcoming election forum schedule and find out when each of the district forums, as well as the Councilor at Large forum, will be replaying. And we will see you Thursday night for our live mayoral election. Remember, Election Day is Tuesday, November 4th, and polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. If you're not sure where to vote, visit wheredoivotema.com. For questions about early voting or absentee ballots, or any other questions you might have, you can contact the Methuen City Clerk's Office at 978-983-8515. Thank you very much for joining us for tonight's forum. And thank you, Ryan DeZoglio, John Drew, Wanda Santos, Jim Sarcione, Francisco Cirillo, and Jana Zani Pesh, for it's the extra E at the end.
Pesce.
I'm French. We just added in. Thank you all for joining us, and thank you for joining us at home. And we hope you'll be joining us again between now and Election Day. I'm Michelle Houle, your moderator for the evening. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.
This local channel is sponsored by Michaud Insurance. Since 1979, Michaud Insurance has been providing comprehensive insurance options to our friends and neighbors. Find out how we work for you at 978-685-2549 or at michaudinsurance.com.